Guys, Raid Shadow Legends just released an S tier update to Hydra, and if you struggle with that boss, like me, keep watching because we're going to go over what this changes, who it affects, and whether or not you'll be able to utilize it on your account. And if you can, this change might just be a huge value surge for you in Hydra. Keep watching. Okay guys, so I've pulled up the news right here for this patch. Title is "A Smoother Game Awaits, AI Bugs Fixed." Now, they're obviously referring to the champion skill AI, and the very top, I don't know if it's a headline, the top patch note right here, Hydra, if a champion has the provoke debuff in their skill set, I went to 11. Immediately, like, oh my god, they will specifically target the head of decay. That is so huge, guys. I'll go over briefly the rest, but I really want to focus on this specific. That one line makes, I can't think of a single change other than reverting the stupid ass no damage for one turn when a head comes back from being decapitated. I can't think of a single other change that would have this much impact from just doing one thing. This is huge. I've had this problem since Hydra released, and as a person who never got a team that could just kill the heads and not worry about provoking the head of decay because you kill them so quickly, or has like a guide to your provoker. I do have one, to be fair. Krisk is very good in this role because his is place and his is AoE, so he doesn't have an affinity issue even if you didn't place it because he's void, but he's very, very good for this. My other teams seriously struggle on percentage chances to land provoke or the wrong affinity or ever running it on auto, and the champion will go and do the provoke skill against the head that can't be provoked. So if you know, you know. If you've played much in Hydra and you have a moderate or a free-to-play account and you have not gotten one of those god tier champions that just kind of like handles it AoE on auto, this is an enormous pain in your ass because of the fact that this provocable head is the head that cleanses all the debuffs off of the other heads. And if he does that and the head of Blight is on the same team, they're kind of like synced so that the cleanse happens and then the head of Blight immediately throws on Poison Cloud, which is the bane of my existence in Hydra. So this change is genuinely the only one I give a shit about in this update. But you know, there's some other good stuff that happened in this AI tweaking patch, but guys, this is huge for Hydra. Let me talk to you about immediately who I thought of when I saw that this happened. I don't even know, are they in my locker? Where are they? Let's see. Right here. This bad boy. War Chief just got such an enormous value surge. It's hard to even put it into words. This guy has a very, very unique skill set with one particular mechanic revolving around his provoke that no other champion in the game has. Check this out. Mine is not booked or anything because I was very hesitant to drop the resources in him, knowing that this problem with the AI would kind of preclude him from being on an auto team, and I was really trying to work toward auto team. So anyway, he's been on my radar for a while, but this skill, look at this. If you ascend it, attacks an enemy, steals all buffs, which is fantastic because he's going to be an accuracy to land the provoke anyway, places a provoke on them for, oh that's right, not one, not two, 3 turns. A 3-turn provoke. There's no other champion in the game that does that. If there is one, they're like very new to me, and I am going to be shocked. Please drop in the comments below. I genuinely don't think that there's another one in the game that does 3 turns of provoke. I don't even think there's a 3-turn stun, but it has a 50% chance of placing provoke on all other enemies. Does not matter in the Hydra because only the one head is provocable, but then places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns proportional to his defense. I think, yeah, he's a defense champion. So if you see right here, legendary defense. So you're going to be building his defense for survivability. Guys, one great aspect about this champion is that if you're not able to book him or you choose not to book him, this 3-turn provoke only on a 4-turn cooldown unbooked. That's pretty fantastic because a lot of champions in the game have a provoke that's either on a 2-turn or 3-turn cooldown if it's not an A1, and if it's an A1, it's not guaranteed almost ever. Even he has one on his A1 and it's not guaranteed. So this placing a provoke, it's just guaranteed, right? Like obviously you have accuracy check and affinity, you know, weak hit check, but it's not 75% books to 100. It's just places for 3 turns. So if you don't want to drop 6 books in him, which I get if you don't, not to mention you have 5 in the A1. He's a librarian for sure. He wouldn't look it, but you know, yeah, he likes to read. Then you will still get 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. All you really need is him to go fast enough that he laps, you know, out of 4 turns. He just needs to take 4 turns to the head of decay's 3, and this will be up all the time. So like he's very legitimately viable with no books. Then on his A1, guess what? Attacks one enemy 3 times, so a good candidate for Giant Slayer. Each hit has a 25% chance. This one does book up, but it only books up 10%. So again, the value is definitely there. Going to 35%. makes the math better. I mean, shocker. But 3 times with each hit having a 25, or if he's booked, 35% chance of placing provoke. Okay, you didn't need it, because if he's booked, his A2 is 3 turns of provoke on a 3-turn cooldown. But if you choose not to book him, this is your supplemental provoke. Like, if anything goes wrong, he's just an insane provoker. And the fact that he brings this shield means that he technically is not solely provoked. Now, I would say that if you have a reliable provoker, it will completely change the way your team performs in Hydra versus not having one. Just completely, especially against the last rotation we had, rotation 5, I think, where you do have the Head of Decay and Blight starting out, and they're speed tuned to where it's a big cleanse, then Poison Cloud everywhere. That's miserable. So on that one specifically, you want provoke. There are other ones where the Head of Decay isn't in the starting lineup, blah, 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 other Hydra stuff. But the fact that he has this on his A1 too, and then has this shield, means that the shield can actually help you let him do 2 roles, right? Like, it's not like he's doing some OP heal or some, you know, cooldown reset mechanic, but putting a big shield, if he has a good amount of defense, will definitely help your team survive 100%. It also gives you a buff. So if you have any of the people that get more damage from being under more buffs, or if you have a situation where you have a buff extender and the shield is strong enough, then that buff extender will make the shield be for 3 turns. It's just win-win-win for War Chief. Another champion that I do have that's also, he was a viable option on manual before, really both of them were on manual before, is the Skull Lord. Now these two I'm showing you that I have in my locker, because obviously you could just go watch other content creator videos and see champions that you don't have that are good for this, because there are several that are going to get a huge buff from this update. But this guy I have, he's leveled up, and I think he's in gear. Okay, so he's missing 1 piece, but he was in Guardian and some Stone Skin just to be kind of like a tank, because at one point before they reworked his kit, he put Strengthen just on himself, and so I was trying to play around with him on a team that didn't have AoE Strengthen as the Mischief tank. So anyway, but like, look at this. Places provoke on an enemy. Mine's booked, so it's 100% chance for a turn. Can't be resisted if you have another Lizardman, so you don't even have to build accuracy on him if this is his role for you in Hydra and you have another Lizardman. But I will say he has a debuff here that's very useful, so you may end up building accuracy anyway. But it's at least nice that you can't get the 3% if you have another Lizardman. Then Places Strengthen, this is after his rework on all allies, so that's useful now, right? Like, he's not a good candidate for a 1 buff Mischief tank type self-buffing deal. If you know, you know. But he now puts Strengthen on your whole team as somebody who's not primarily a buffer or primarily a support. So this guy's crazy. Now, he's also a defense champion, and he has heal reduction on his A1, so you're not going to use that for Hydra, but a 2-hitter A1 with heal reduction, if you're a newer account, or if you're maybe free to play, you know, below level, definitely below level 100, but like earlier in the game, if you happen to pull him and you go online and people are like, Skull Lord Vargal sucks, and then there's obviously a few cultists that think he's the Messiah, but this is a very good skill. Too bad it's not a 3-hitter, but this is a good skill for Fire Knight, and he has a chance to repeat the skill, and he boosts his own turn meter. So like, heal reduction is good for the Fire Knight. Anything above a 1-hitter is good for the Fire Knight. So there's some utility there as well. Going back to the news article, okay, you have a couple champions. I'm not going to go into depth on all of this. A lot of you will be familiar anyway. If for some reason, you know, you wanted me to go back over this in depth, I really just wanted to highlight the provoke change in Hydra. I'm happy to do another video to follow up, but I just wanted to highlight that provoke was crazy. So I'll kind of quickly go over this. You got a few skill AI tweaks that are for Fire Knight specifically because of the mechanic where the Fire Knight shield is up and you want people to use multi-hit skills. Maybe you don't want them to waste their big hit, especially if it's a 1-hitter, because that's not a very good skill to use against the shield. Then you have, this is a little bit weird, but Duke the Pierced has, I don't even know his kit. I don't know what this is. I feel like it's one where he does like extra damage and puts unkillable on himself, something like that. But in Demon Lord, I wasn't aware that we were having any trouble with just using the manual preset, so this one's a little bit weird to me, because you should just make a team and tell it to do exactly what you wanted to do, since it's just round 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in Demon Lord until you're dead, or until you hit turn 50 if you're unkillable. This, I don't have Grazor, so I don't know what this kind of entails for Grazor players. If you have them and you think this is good, drop it in the comments below. Armigers, actually, I'll give credit where credit's due, because I've never used Armiger above 550 and rarely at that, even in the earlier stages of my account. So basically, I saw Nubraids cover this, and he was saying that it'd be better if they left his AI alone. So Plarium, if you happen to be watching this, will you put it back or take a poll or something from the community, because I don't think this is going to be a change anybody wants, especially because what they effectively did was he had a built-in AI mechanic where if the turn meter was above a certain point on the enemy, then he would use his A1, because his A1 has a turn meter decrease function. So he was doing that going, oh, the boss is about to get a turn, let me save our asses and drop his turn meter. Even if later rest, which is an enemy max HP hit that can hit for a lot if he's built well, even though that was off cooldown, he would use the A1 because it was better to prioritize keeping the boss from taking a turn. You could have overridden that by just telling him, no, just always use later rest when it's available. Easily, manual in the AI. But what they did was they gave him that manual component, but they gave it to him automatically. So now the automatic component from before is gone. He's never going to like situationally prioritize decreased turn meter, which is kind of a bummer. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, they're kind of disturbing a legacy champion's AI in a way that probably isn't better or wanted, but also it's really, really good the way that it was. So it's not just like, oh man, that's nostalgic. Now he's never going to be the same again. Kind of like what they did with Skull Lord Vargal. You can't do there's some little lizard minion that his passive before said he would revive them at the beginning of every turn. That was kind of a nostalgic thing where it's like, oh, Skull Lord doesn't do that anymore. But now it's like, well, wait, Arbiter's just worse. Okay, I don't have Sun Wukong. I am not familiar with this kit because I hate the damn monkey. At some point I should probably look, so when I'm getting fucked by his mechanics in the live arena, I actually know what the hell is coming. I kind of know a few of them because every damn body has a Sun Wukong, but anyway. Then you got a little, tweak to Syl. She'll prioritize her revive now. I didn't even notice that because I never really used her as a main reviver, but apparently she did not prioritize it even when there was a dead ally and it was off cooldown. I guess work better, when the team is running on auto. And then these are good. All locations, this is cool because, and I'll talk about these two real quick because Sissy and Artak are decent Hydra champions across the board. Definitely decent for people that are progressing or lower level or don't have, a Kraken account that's pulled all the best meta Hydra champions. But real quick, for like faction wars especially, but there's some areas I think there's some dungeons, maybe not, but definitely in faction wars and maybe in like Doom Tower, if an enemy's under unkillable, now the champions will automatically prioritize trying to steal or remove buffs so that you don't get in that infinite loop where you're decreasing their turn meter but they're under unkillable and you never take the unkillable but they never get a turn, so it just goes on forever. And like literally it could go all night. If you like running your game on auto, it could wake up in the morning and, oh, we've done 2 stages or 2 waves because we're stuck on the second wave and someone's in unkillable. I kind of wish that it worked for block damage as well. Maybe it already does, but I don't think it does because there's some annoying waves with Warcaster and Valkyrie in faction wars as well where something like that can happen. If you don't have a buff removal and you are decreasing Warcaster's turn meter, somebody on that wave can just sit there forever in unkillable, in block damage. Then separately, if a person can't remove buffs but they have a skill that ignores unkillable, they'll now prioritize that. So that'll just speed up running those things that could have gotten stuck and looped all night. Then this is good for Hydra. I'm going to go over the next 2 right here, and then we're going to talk about it, and then I'm going to go finish talking about it, looking at the champions so you can see their skills. But basically, both Sissia and Artak prioritizing the wrong skill as HP burn exploders, where they were trying to explode when there was no burn up, which just makes no sense. But I mean, they have other debuffs on those skills, but it really is like, bro, the main reason we want them to use this skill is to explode burn for sure. That's like basically 80% of their value. So it was really weird that they didn't do that, and I actually struggled with trying to not fully book Sissy as A2 and like work with it in the AI presets, and then when she would get devoured in between skills, it'd be really weird. And so this is really, really good change for Sissia. And then I don't really know who the hell cares about Exemplar. Comment below if you do, because I'm always open to hear crazy or sometimes underdog strats for why, what use a champion has or why they're good. But like, I don't understand. I've never seen anyone use her except in maybe like a really, really bizarre kind of meme team. Abyss, I think, is probably power crept on her attack rating, like her power lately, but I have one and I might actually play with one in Stone Skin and Live Arena because of one of her skills. I think it's Divine Wrath, but we'll talk about that in another video. But basically, it just changed, like when the Divine Wrath is not on cooldown, that now it will actually prioritize that. I believe Divine Wrath is like her bigger hit, and Mass Impalement is her debuffing hit, both of which hit okay, but her debuffing hit hits a little bit weaker. I think at one point there was like a Taurus Defiled Center, if that's the right champion I'm thinking of right now, like weird Spider 20, like way back in the day, that could like poison explode the spider. But that's just bizarre that they changed him and they included it here because I didn't know anyone gave a shit about Defiled Center. But anyway, let's go real quick and talk about Sissia and Artak, and then I will let you guys go. All right, so I'm just going to go to, what am I doing? Her duo is there, but she is a Demon Spawn. Okay, so I have used Sissia for a long time. Like I said, this was a pain point for me, but basically you have books to a 4-turn cooldown to try to put HP burn on everyone. It is 100% chance, but obviously accuracy check, and then her affinity being force means that if there's like 2 spirit heads in the starting lineup in Hydra, then you might not get the extra turn. But basically, if she puts it up, she puts it on all enemies for 3 turns, and if she places it on everyone, she's just going to get an extra turn. Then on her A2, which this skill for some reason was like the highest prioritization in her automatic AI, where you don't touch it in the presets. And this is a great skill. It has a books to 100% chance of placing weaken. There are at least 2 people under HP burn debuffs, which, I mean, if she procs the extra turn, everyone's under. But if at least 2 are under HP burn debuffs, and note, they do not have to be hers, so you can pair her with another burner. That's actually really good for burn explosion spider teams to speed things up. But that's another note for another video. She has 100% chance for decreased defense on everyone as well. So basically 2 or more people under HP burn, she explodes the burns, it says it down here, then instantly activates. So she places the debuffs, which is nice because that means that if she places debuffs on anybody that weaken them further or decrease their defense further, the burns will do a little bit more damage. But basically, she's going to put the weaken out if there's no affinity weak hit issue. Then if there's 2 or more enemies under burns, decreased defense goes out as well. So she becomes like a conditional decreased defense and weaken champion while being a damage dealer as a burn exploder. So she's a really, really good champion. Then she instantly activates the HP burn debuffs on every target for 1 turn. Her A1 is just basically like, it is a 3-hitter, so that's nice for Giant Slayer, but it basically has a pretty low chance, books to 30%, of extending the duration of HP burn. So that has its uses in Hydra a little bit, but let's go talk about Artak, because he was doing something very similar. Artak is an orc. He was I think a login event champion, kind of like Sun Wukong, and the latest one was Alice. But Artak, same kind of deal, a little bit simpler kit, but right here, attacks all enemies twice. First hit has a chance to place burns on all enemies for 2 turns. 3-turn cooldown when booked, 100% chance when booked. Then his A2 attacks all enemies before attacking, activates HP burn. So that's great. Problem was he was doing this first. So he was activating nothing before attacking. And then he was placing, books to 100% decreased attack on all enemies for 2 turns. Decreased attack is great, but you don't want him to do that skill and then do the burn, because then the burn's just going to sit there and it's going to take him 2 more turns to get back around to exploding the burn, and some of the heads may not have burn on them anymore. So it's like, that was really dumb. They tweaked him as well. But basically that's it, guys. I just wanted to go over the fact that this dude, not S tier overall in the game, he ain't gonna get no 5-star rating on Hell Hades, but this guy is now probably S tier in Hydra for his role. I can't really think of anybody that isn't, maybe there's a Void. I'm not familiar with some of the new Voids. Maybe there's a really good Void provoker, but the only weakness he has is affinity, and I'm not too worried about it because he can supplement so well with his A1, and the AI is automatically going to make all his skills direct at the Head of Decay now. So even if the Head of Decay is the wrong affinity, which it's only the wrong affinity on some Hydra rotations, he's going to get a chance, and let's just say he weak hits with the 3-turn provoke on his A2. Okay, every other turn he gets, he's going to be using his A1, waiting for that to come back off cooldown, and his A1 has, what, 2-hitter? 3-hitter! Each with 35% if he's booked, 25% chance if he's not booked, to land provoke on each hit. So 3 separate 25% chances every turn until he gets back to the A2 that he weak hit on. So that's just a hypothetical to kind of describe why he would be good, because if he didn't have the A1, it does make him a little bit weaker against, actually a lot weaker against Spirit Affinity, because then he'd have to wait the 3 turns if he's booked, 4 turns if he's not, after weak hitting, and then you got like nothing from him, right, for the whole cooldown of the A2. But having that supplemental provoke at a pretty good clip of a chance on his A1 makes him really good. And then you got accuracy in all battles by 60, ain't nothing. This guy, massive value surge. I'm so behind on legendary books and food to rank up champions, but I'm thinking that he's probably going to get bumped up pretty fucking high in my champion prio to level up. But guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any really good legendaries that I missed. Skull Lord and War Chief are 2 that I have that I also think that they're just 2 that are the most impacted by this change. But if you feel differently, or if you have anything to add, drop in the comments below, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Good luck in Hydra. Happy raiding.